My name is Brandon King, and I'm running for the Minnesota State House because I believe the future belongs to all of us, not just the handful of people who can afford to buy it early. We're living through the most consequential turning point since the Industrial Revolution. The richest man on earth is building machines he says will replace most human jobs within 15 years. The banks are pushing 50-year mortgages that would have our grandchildren finishing our house payments. Politicians call this progress, but it isn't progress when people have to spend half a century buying permission to live. And it isn't progress when the same people who are automating our jobs are dismantling the safety nets we paid for. The problem isn't that technology is advancing too fast. It's that our laws and values are moving too slow. The promise of progress was never that a few would own the machines, the land, and the time of everyone else. The promise was that when our tools got better, our lives would get better too. That's the unfinished business of the American project. That's why my platform begins with two pieces of legislation: the Minnesota Housing Sovereignty Act and the Minnesota Workweek Liberation Act. Together, they put power back where it belongs, in the hands of the people who actually keep this state running. The Housing Sovereignty Act creates off-market, publicly managed and occupant-owned 3D printed homes sold at cost under 15-year anti-speculation stewardship covenants. We have the technology today to print a home in days for a fraction of the cost of traditional construction. The barrier isn't physics or engineering, it's policy. We can build real homes for real people, not financial instruments for hedge funds. You shouldn't die renting from a bank. The American dream was meant to be something real, something you live in, not something you owe your life to. The Minnesota Workweek Liberation Act takes aim at the other side of the problem: time. As automation continues to rise, the right's response is not fear or denial, it's design. By 2031, we lower the full-time standard to 32 hours, then to 24 by 2035, and to 16 by 2040. With full pay protection and benefits parity, when machines make us more productive, the reward should be time, not unemployment. The future of work should be about living, not surviving. Some will say that's impossible. The same people said 8-hour days were impossible. They said weekends were impossible. Every step forward in human history began with someone calling it unrealistic until reality caught up. We already produce more than enough for everyone. The problem isn't production, it's distribution. And let's be clear about what the so-called realists are actually proposing as the alternative. If automation continues on its current trajectory, and Elon Musk is right that most or all jobs will be automated by 2040, then what happens when there's no one left to pay rent, buy food, or make loan payments? If the robots do the work and humans are cut out of the paycheck, the logical endpoint isn't prosperity, it's mass unemployment. And right now, there is no safety net to catch anyone. The same people cheering for efficiency are the ones tearing down unemployment insurance, public housing, and healthcare. They're preparing for a future where millions are displaced and nobody is responsible for what happens next. If Musk is telling the truth about Optimus, then automation on that scale demands immediate planning. Shorter work weeks, guaranteed income floors, and universal essentials like housing, healthcare, and education. Those aren't luxuries. They're the minimum conditions for a society that doesn't collapse when machines take over labor. But if he's lying, if the robots can't actually replace human workers at that scale, then he's moving markets for a $1 trillion paycheck with false promises. That's securities fraud. Either way, the public deserves protection through law, through policy, through foresight. The real fantasy is pretending we can hand the economy over to automation without rewriting the social contract. The future doesn't wait for permission, but it does demand responsibility. We can either design a humane transition now or watch the bottom fall out later. The billionaire class calls their future efficient. What they mean is that they want fewer people with power over their own lives. I want a future where Minnesotans have sovereignty over their housing, their labor, and their time, because that's what liberty means in the 21st century. The tools to free humanity already exist. The question is who they will serve. I'm running because I believe they should serve you.